Montenegro, Black Mountain, or in local language Crna Gora, is a small country in southeastern part of Europe. Along with its neighbors, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia and Kosovo, it was part of the former Yugoslavia. It also borders Albania to the south. There are only around 600,000 inhabitants, so they are very small, but also one of the tallest nations in the world. They live in a country of only 13,812 square kilometers, or just over 5,300 square miles. For comparison, it is slightly smaller than Connecticut in the United States and Northern Ireland, 5 times smaller than Sri Lanka and almost 3 times smaller than Hainan in China. So really small, but incredibly diverse. On one side, it faces the Adriatic Sea, and in the background are mountains. With that, it seems like it was made for tourism. I have visited it several times, but here I will show my impressions from a trip in the summer of 2025. My little adventure began on the coast, but then continued in the mountains. During 7 days in Montenegro, I visited 4 national parks, and then ended the trip with a few days in northern Albania. So let's go. The most famous destination in Montenegro is certainly the Bay of Kotor. The sea here is surrounded by high hills and mountains, so it creates a bit of a fjord atmosphere. The road leads along the coast around the bay, and at the end you reach the city of Kotor. The small but beautiful old town is surrounded by walls, which also climb up the surrounding hill. Inside the walls is nicely preserved old architecture. The city attracts a lot of visitors and can be very crowded during the day. But in the evening, the atmosphere is much calmer, and the squares invite you to socialize. The next morning, an interesting ride over 25 switchbacks to National Park Lovćen. Behind the tunnel and 461 steps at the top of the hill, in 1974 the mausoleum of Petar II Petrović Njegoš was built. He was a local ruler, bishop and a poet in the 19th century. In the center of this interesting complex is a room with golden walls, and the statue of Njegoš inside. Behind him is an eagle, the symbol of the country, and his grave is located in the room below. Outside, the view stretches for miles around, mostly to the Bear Karst and the Adriatic Sea in the distance. The next destination is National Park Durmitor. Nature is completely different here. High mountains surrounded by dense forests, and there are also several mountain lakes, with trails for walking, trekking and cycling. Nearby is Tara River, with the deepest canyon in continental Europe. Another canyon, Nevidio, is about an hour away. Overall, plenty of activities for those who don't want to hike. But you can't skip the mountains completely. That would be a shame. There is a circular narrow road that leads through the mountains, so you can partially experience them even without climbing. Probably the most popular photo spot is the view of the Sedlo, or horse saddle. Don't miss it. True hikers, of course, want to reach the highest peak, Bobotov Kuk, 2,523 meters or 8,278 feet. If that sounds frightening to you, like it did to me, you can still do at least part of the hike. The trail starts along the road on the side of the Sedlo. The beginning is a bit challenging, but you can help yourself with the cable. When you pass around this high rock, the trail follows with gentle climbs and falls. After about an hour, you reach a point from which you can see the highest peak. This is where the real climb begins. So if you are like me, more a walker than a hiker, you can just relax here, enjoy the view, before returning the same way back. The next part of my Montenegro journey leads to another side of the country, to the small town of Plav. On the way, it is worth stopping briefly at another national park, Biogradska Gora. In the center is another mountain lake, and around it a trail that is easy to walk. There is also a restaurant at the beginning of the trail, good and practical option for a lunch break. Plav is again completely different. This area is mostly Muslim, so the architecture is different than in the rest of the country and very interesting. Old mosques, public fountains, wooden towers where people used to live, all mixed with new architecture. People are very friendly, and yes, there are good baklavas around. The town is located next to Lake Plav. At the other end of it are impressive mountains. These are Prokletije, or Accursed Mountains, another national park. Hiking is logical activity, but it is harder to find gentle trails here. These are serious mountains, with peaks mostly above 2,000 meters or 6,500 feet. This was filmed on a circular trail Popadija Talijanka Volušnica, which is usually described as the easiest. The trails are steep, and if you ask me, in some places more like a goat path. When you finally reach the highest level, the trail follows the edge of the mountain between three peaks. On one side is Montenegro, on the other Albania. Of course, the views around are absolutely spectacular, so it's easier to forget about the difficulties of the climb. Still, if you are not an experienced hiker, don't underestimate any of the trails around here. With Albania so close, it was logical to continue the journey across the border, in northern Albania. But about that in another video. First, I will try to show each part of Montenegro in more detail in several videos. Hope you liked this one. If so, please press the like button. See you soon. Thanks for watching and greetings from Daria.